So I have a special guest in the house today, Nigel Cliff, back for a repeat performance, but coming with you new material, LinkedIn 2.0. I love it. I love it. So Nigel, before we get stuck in with our topic, can you just go ahead and introduce yourself, tell people who you are and what you do, and then we'll start chatting.
Thank you. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Flowers especially for you, Gillian.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Happy Valentine's
Happy
Day.
Valentine's Day, everybody.
And to anybody else who's out there, happy Valentine's Day. Who am I? Yes, Nigel Cliff. Been a LinkedIn trainer in the UK for 10 years, a couple of years part-time before that, but really full-time for 10 years. I'm a marketer by background. I've actually set up 25 businesses in my life, so a bit of an entrepreneur. I've had more failures than successes. That's how one learns. I just love LinkedIn and what it can bring to people. I'm very proud of the fact that I use the line, I change lives as a consequence of what we do here on LinkedIn. Me and many others I know, but it's just so, we're very privileged. Most people want to know how to do a little bit of extra, something extra on LinkedIn. And we're in that wonderful position of almost having a conversation with anybody and being able to help them in some way to achieve their goals a little bit better than they previously did. So, yeah, very lucky, and I'm delighted to be here. So thank you for inviting me again.
I love it. I love it. And Nigel and I are buds across the pond, buddies. We like the same tea and everything else. I actually have family not too far away from Nigel, so it's one of my goals to get there and visit him in person, and he's going to tour me around. So that would be fun. That would be a fun goal. So I'm still holding. I'm holding to that. Okay, so our chit chat today is about empower yourself and make a difference. And I love the word empower because that's like one of my values. Like I think I was recently talking with Sarah Burgess on her live, and we were talking about, your values and how they affect your business. And I know empowerment was one for me because I like to empower people to do video. So that's sort of my take on it. So when you think of empowering yourself, so Nigel, one of the things I saw is preparing for this live is that you are making a shift with sort of how you're approaching LinkedIn and your training. And you said it's not enough to just share tips, that you have to take action. People have to take action. So you want to just kind of explain sort of what brought that change on for you?
Yeah, I'd love to do. Thank you. I have trained thousands of people, and my disappointment is that in the relatively small amount of time that we can spend with anybody training them on LinkedIn, there's a limit to how far we can take them on this journey. And I want more time to take you further on that journey, to actually empower you to make a difference to your lives, whatever your goals are, whether it's career change, whether it's winning your business on LinkedIn, whether it's becoming a thought leader, number of other areas that we all might wish to grow and expand in. And I guess I got a little bit frustrated in the last year, partly because of this increasing personalization of LinkedIn. We all know about it. We all saw it. I think it's actually diminished a little bit, which I'm pleased about. And it's not that I don't feel it should be a personal platform. I'm not one of the LinkedIn police saying this is not the place for that. I think, human beings, we need to be authentic in every regard in our business and our personal lives. And that sort of personality needs to come through. But in the training, I was getting to a point where this is not making as much of a difference with a great number of people as I'd really like to make. And I thought, how can I shift this? And I began to realize that we all people like ourselves, Gillian, we know so much. And, throw me any question, we'll have an answer or an opinion on an answer about it. That doesn't empower you. That is just a knowledge share, okay? Mm-hmm. And what I began to think about in terms of my own training was I'm largely knowledge sharing. And if I go back 10, 15, 20 years, that was a great thing. Knowledge share, great phrase. Actually, no, I want to empower share. That's not a thing, I don't think. But I want to actually give you the tools and mechanisms to actually make that difference, not just listen to it, but act upon it. So this began, and I've been challenged with this really for 12 months, and it really has sort of bugged me to the point where in the last quarter of last year I was like, what am I going to do? You know, where am I going to, because this isn't doing it for me anymore. I've repeated the formula so many times, so many great people out there talk about similar things, and you know, what's the differentiator? And I suddenly realized actually the differentiator is giving people the practical tools to actually go and make a difference. So LinkedIn 2.0, which I'm launching here as the Incredible Academy. Woo! Get that, Incredible Academy in brackets round, you know the formula. So the Incredible Academy is going to be like a cohort-based learning environment where we blend Zoom calls with self-study and practical outcomes, practical things that people do in like a shared environment. Come back, fill in forms, fill in measurement matrices, and actually have a tangible growth plan within an 8-week program, which is where I'm at the minute. It's like 4 2-week sprints inside 8 weeks that actually share together this experience we're going on, but actually take them away, give them things to do as opposed to learning lots. And it's that empowerment factor, I think, that brings this all together. It's a great word to bring all what I'm talking about together into a plan. So that's largely it.
Love it.
I'm hoping to start the first cohort in May. It'll be kind of a pilot cohort for the rest of the year, and then off we go again. So it's a lot of the same content that I've learned, you know, over the years, but just actually with this more practically focused delivery that makes that difference. So yeah, thank you for asking me to explain that. I've not rehearsed that very well too many times. How did that come across, Gillian?
It came across natural and friendly and conversational, which is how we always want to talk about stuff, because if you know, nobody wants to hear the polished version. We want to be real now. And I love what you're doing, Nigel, because I think I get it with video, where I have a YouTube channel. I have all these YouTubes on how to do video, but it's not enough. I can do as many videos. I could do videos till the cows come home.
Exactly.
Some folks can watch a video, boom, they get it, and off they go. And that's great. They are empowering themselves. But there's a lot of people that are like, wait, I don't get this bit, or I tried that and my stuff went over here. How do I shift this? It's like so we have to learn by doing, and then correct and get feedback. And so I like your premise, because it's like, yes, if you wanted to learn LinkedIn, you could read. I know so many people that have great books. They have great books. They have great courses. We could watch the courses. We can watch the books. But why do we want other things? Why do we want communities? Why do we want cohorts? Why do we want one-to-one training? Because everybody learns differently. And the best way to learn is to do stuff and then make those little corrections. And, you know, I often think of like anybody coming on LinkedIn, like you and I have both been on LinkedIn a while. You've been on a lot longer than me. I've only been here, you know, I was like one of those people thinking, oh, this is just for resumes. And I had, you know, just a crappy profile, and then took it seriously a couple of years ago. And you've been here long haul, and you've seen it go from a base of being a very professional platform to like, now there's so many features that it's like, if you are a new person today, you come in here and go, I don't know where to start. There's so much. So if you did a brain dump, or if Jeff Young is here, a Vulcan mind meld where you just, you know, gave us all that information, they can't do anything with that. So you have to just give them the bits.
Yeah, but you know that I find though that, Gillian, the principles of how to operate the platform successfully largely don't change. It's about sharing knowledge, you know, being valuable, being interesting, being conversational, and however many bells and whistles we add to the core platform, they won't all be for everybody. You know, I don't run LinkedIn Lives. You know, I'm so grateful for you being a guest on a LinkedIn Live. But, you know, I think that's just taking it a little bit too far for me. It's not what I do. It's not the best of what I can give. I'm very much of the spirit of as you will know, because you've helped me service clients with video training. I'd rather say, do you know what? I know somebody better at this than me, and I'd rather direct you to a person that can do it better. I feel guilty if I'm half doing a job that I know somebody else can do better. So as far as, and that's why I love our community. You know, it's brilliant. There are people who specialize in all sorts of things, and I regularly, you know, say, hey, you know, who's good at that? And I go out to John Experience sometimes and say, John, in his group, who's good at this? And John will give me, you know, some tips back and say, oh, there's a selection of people. I'll have a look and I'll make an approach. So I just love that collaborative impact. And do you know what? I learned so much from all of us, you know, sharing what we do. How can any one person know everything there is to know about LinkedIn? So by being here, by being in that spirit of helpfulness, I think just we all, what's that expression? A rising tide lifts all boats, something like that.
Oh, I love that one. I love that one. I love that one. And I like the whole idea of, you know, it's a community. You look to the experts, you know, it's like, I don't know so much about company pages. I would send them to a different person for this, you know, all these different things. You, like you said, you cannot know every area of LinkedIn. And as a student coming on to LinkedIn, and student meaning a new person, or even somebody who's just saying, I don't feel I'm getting this. I'm not getting the results I need to get. So maybe you're like me. You're one of these people, you've been on LinkedIn for a while, but you kind of feel like, I think I'm in the back seat here. How do I get in the front street and, you know, start driving the car, so to speak? I think it's like you said, it's finding that little part of LinkedIn that you can master and then feel good and then move on to something else. And or you just stay. You know, there's some people that just, they're the king or queen of the text posts. They'll be doing text posts till the end of time, but their text posts are amazing.
You know, there are so many ways to cut this cake, and that's the other thing. You know, you're thinking, and different people with different ambitions and different goals can actually utilize LinkedIn in different ways. That I find that interesting sometimes. You know, I'll see an instance where it's not a conventional approach. I'm thinking, okay, I've got to pull a little bit deeper on my resources to think, how can you exploit the opportunities that are available to you in your particular way, through your tone of voice, through your brand. And I love that. You know, that I love those challenges when you're thinking, right, that's a little bit different. How can we take that journey through to finding you success? And I mean, the wonderful thing that we all share is the rudimentary, the baseline is the same for whatever you do. But in that regard, we can help people in mental health. We can help. I even have a rocket scientist as a client. Can you imagine having a rocket scientist? Literally, you know, and everything in between. It's so wonderful. You know, and the biggest majority of what we train and teach is the same, but there are differences, and I love that, where we're getting into nuances of, well, how can we get your message out, and your clarity, and your tone of voice, to make sure that you're being attracted to the audience you want to reach. And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. So when we look at our banner today, which was empower yourself and make a difference. So sometimes we're making a difference for ourselves. Sometimes we're making a difference for a client. And sometimes we're just making a difference for somebody who's the anonymous person out there who may never comment, you know, like we still kind of, I never like the term lurker. I just kind of think of them as, they're just consumers. They just are consuming the content, and, you know, all of a sudden they could show up in your, you know, inbox saying, hey, I've been watching you for a year. Now I'm ready to do, you know, I'm ready to do what you teach. So I'd like to work with you, which is always fabulous. But what are some of the ways that, you know, we talked before we went live today, we talked about people kind of being nervous about posting because they feel like, who am I, you know, like to say this. But don't you find, Nigel, that sometimes, like, you've been writing about your shift, you could just wait till it's all perfect, but by writing about it, you're making a shift because you are giving people the permission to say, maybe I want to make a shift.
I think the people just sharing stories is what it's all about, isn't it? But there's so many people like that confidence, the fear, false expectations appearing real. I'll throw that in for Jeff. It is like, you know, people might not like me. They don't want to. You know, they might not agree with me. Am I going to make a fool of myself? Well, do you know what? The biggest tip I give people who lack that confidence, even when you say, look, you know, just be out there, do your thing, is actually engage on other people's content. That is such a powerful tool. I spend 80% of my time on LinkedIn engaging on other people's content and not on my own. I'm not a prolific poster. I will post once, sometimes twice a week. You know, my posts are not prolific. I'd really rather concentrate on something I've thought through than just hitting a schedule of post after post. And it works, honestly, Gillian. It really works. You know, I sit on the back of, in a sense, somebody else's content creation and enjoy and add some value to what they do. And anybody can do that. So I often tell people, look, when you have that uncertainty, the lack of confidence, go and search through hashtags, through content, through posts. We can all do the searches, or we show people how to do the searches to find that material, and then just go and interact with the audience. You know, find your tone of voice through commenting, and then eventually you'll be stimulated to a point where you go, I've seen enough of this now to feel that I've got the rhythm of how this works. You know, I feel as I can say something, and then wait for that moment of inspiration where something changes your day, and you go, do you know what, that impacted me. Share it. It's just not in everybody's psyche, and that's the really hard thing to get across. You know, you want to empower them. So, you know, I go through a series of tips of how to create content and how to tell stories, because, you know, we want to be interesting, and stories are brilliant, by the way. There's an undercurrent of how to make your content interesting. If you say, do you know what happened to me today? You never guess. Instantly you attract, you know, an audience that wants to know what the rest of that story is, you know, and that can be done in content, in words, on, you know, on LinkedIn. So that I find that is a useful way of helping people sort of break that sort of glass ceiling of not being able to be themselves out there on LinkedIn. And that's what we're there for, isn't it? To build that confidence and see things like this happen, you know, and everybody sharing. Oh yeah, it's not such a bad community. These people are all right.
Yes. And speaking of community, I will hop over to the comments, but I think you're very brilliant, Nigel, in that giving people that tip that commenting is really the power of LinkedIn. You know, like when we say this is not Instagram, you know, we're sounding snotty when I say, oh, this is not Instagram, this is not Facebook, whatever. But I think what it is that don't feel that like you come in, you post, and it's like, oh, look at me, and then you're off. It's the community. It's putting the social back into this being a social platform.
Yeah. Anybody who comes at this with the belief that broadcasting is what it's all about has failed at source. This is not a broadcasting tool. You know, we're not here to shout from the hilltops everything you need to know about Nigel Clifford LinkedIn training. You know, like tumbleweed. The audience has gone. You know, that's just not what it's about. It's about adding value, collaborating, and you know, there is so much good come from almost a commenting strategy alone without needing necessarily to post. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying that once you understand the power of that engagement factor, you can draw so much out of it. You look for the right comments, find the material where you've got something valuable to say and add. Look for the other people commenting in there. Take those into side conversations. I really enjoyed what you said there. You made me think differently about something. Can we connect? Share more? You know, and I've never even posted. You know, the power of that adding value inside other people's content is brilliant. And we guys know it. You know, the people, you know, that I often see on your shows will know this stuff, but we need to get that message across to those who are new to the game and not quite sure how it all works. Engage with other people's content. It's brilliant. It gets you into conversations, gets you seen, you know, and of course, as you do, oh, Nigel's commented on this, and it comes into somebody's feed, and you're not even needing to post, perhaps. I'm not suggesting that you don't post, but we know there's such a power in that.
Yeah, and you said to quote you, 80% of your time you're spending commenting versus posting. And yet I know so many people that are the other way. 80% of their time, they're just bashing. It's like I'm getting exhausted. It's like,
Yeah.
another post, that's 3 today. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not paying attention anymore. But a
Yeah.
comment, it draws me into the conversation.
Yeah.
It's totally
And the other
different.
thing, when you've done this for as long as I have at 10 years, let's say I did a post a week, that's 500 posts. Just imagine. At some point on there, you're going to be repeating the same things you said before. And I had very much that syndrome. Of course, I'm reaching a new audience with the content, but I've got to get that out of my mind. But you're thinking, what hasn't been said either by me or by other people that do what I do, done better than what I can do. Let's be honest. I'm not the best in the world, but as we all contribute, it's been said that these people say so. Okay, and anybody coming new to the platform who hasn't got that level of confidence, really just like, I don't know where to start on this thing. So just actually being in other people's conversations and adding value there is the best starter strategy in the world, as far as I'm concerned, and that builds the confidence. And you get ideas and stimulation from other people's points of
Yes.
views that you can then turn into your own content, and and suddenly you go, right, I get this, and you've done a little post, and you've got some reactions, and conversations happen, and then and so often something out of the blue really nice happens. It's a weird thing, I find, especially in the early days of waking up on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I think, gives people who kind of appear to wake up to the algorithm a bit of a boost, and they have this sort of like shot of something going on that's really quite nice. It's a caffeine shot on LinkedIn, and they get this extra boost of interest and activity. Ride it, take the best out of it. It's wonderful, but be ready. Have your profile optimized for the time you do that, because you don't want to bring somebody to the front door and they go, no, thank you. So there's a logical order in which we do this, to get them to the door looking smart and ready to go and ready to buy, etc.
I love that.
Yeah, that should be the strategy.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so here we go. We got Jeff Young. Nigel is the only LinkedIn trainer I know that looks good in shorts, a suit coat, and tie. Inside joke. Looking great, you too. Well, you are LinkedIn credible. So it's just
do you know the backstory there, Gillian?
No. What's the backstory?
When I was coming out of Zoom and out of COVID. It was one of the first times I'd actually put, that strange feeling we all had when we started putting suits and dresses and whatever, because we were going out again and it wasn't your sneakers and slacks or whatever. And I was getting ready and I pull these trousers on and I thought, I mean, not that I'd put too much weight on, you understand, but I pull these trousers. I thought, that feels weird, this sort of material on my legs. I mean, been in shorts for so long. And I just thought, and I'd already got my shirt and tie. Not telling you the way I dress here. That's a bit weird. But I just pulled the trousers. I thought, sure. And then it just suddenly I thought, wouldn't it be funny just to walk outside having forgot my trousers, because it's just something I've not done. So I got my daughter to video me going out the door with effectively sort of the top half. And it's only when I walked away from the front door that you actually began to realize I had no trousers on. But the rest of the suits, I've got socks and shoes. And anyway, I turned it into a video. It tickled Jeff and a few other people. Got quite a lot of interest. Yeah. Whether it brought me any business, I don't know. But it's part of my personality. I try not to take myself too seriously.
No, and you know what? I think that's good. And I love your pictures, because like you do that with your pictures where you're like, so and these are the things where it's like, let your personality come out. Let your person. And I like the story. I love thank you for sharing that. So Craig says, right then, I'm in and ready to rock. We love our Scottish folks in the house. We love them. We love them. Well, we got Kevin Turner, Gillian, Whitney, and Nigel Cliff with his new material. Woo-hoo-hoo. So yay, Kevin. We've got Karen Levine. Now we're back on this side. Well, we were with Kevin anyways, but Kevin's in Texas. Karen's down in Arizona. Hi, Gillian, old and wonderful friend of mine. We got Sandra Clark. That's a lot of businesses, Nigel. So yes, absolutely. Sandra, that's a good point. So your point was that you talked about, you had a lot of businesses and a lot failed, but that's a part of success, isn't it, Nigel?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, genuinely, I could get to 25 and probably near to 30 business I've established in my life. You know, I'm not telling you how old I am, 64. So that, you know, and a couple I've made some money on. The rest I've not lost any money for anybody. But you know, I've always been trying to move with the technology. You know, I wasn't born digital. You know? So actually, that has been a great period in which to mature and grow and see all that changing. I just saw opportunity after opportunity. I still do, but I stop myself now. I've
Yes.
learned, you know, actually, you know what, just do one thing a little bit better, which is where I am kind of now. But yeah, lot in my life.
Yes. Yes. And I think one thing I like people to keep in mind is everything we've done, the successes and the failures, it's all part of our tapestry and we draw upon it. So when you are all of a sudden talking about something and you're pulling in, oh, did you know that I used to work on a farm? Like one of my first jobs. This is actually a true story. I was picking weeds. That was like one of my first jobs I ever did. I also was a cashier. Like there's so many different things that we've done in our lives. And
Yeah,
some things were horrible and some things were great, but everything teaches us and
yeah,
becomes stored away in our little bank of memories and stuff. So, you
yeah.
know, never feel bad. It's like that graphic of like expectation, you know, I start here and I get here and it's one straight line. No, it's not. It's like my hair. It just kind of curves all over the
We're
place,
a
right?
complete product of our experiences, good and bad.
Yes.
That makes us what we are, and the other thing that makes us what we are is who we surround ourselves with. That is so
Mm,
important. I feel, you know, surround yourself with people who've got the right ethical values, the integrity. You know, that is so important. I think it's easy to get, you know, strayed off into other areas. If you surround yourself by good people, you will generally have a good experience in life, I find. So yeah, a
I
life tip
agree.
there thrown in.
I no, I love it. I love it. It's like if you want to soar with the eagles, stop walking around with the turkeys.
Yeah,
It's
great.
just
Look, that's much. Why didn't I say it so succinctly? I'll write that down.
uh, okay. So we have Marcia coming in, and she says, "I am in GW University class in session." I'm wondering if she means me. I don't know, but it's great. I'll take it. Could be George Washington University, but I like GW, Gillian Whitney University. So either way, it works. It works. Thank you for joining us today. Craig says, "You're no failure in my eyes, matey." So I don't know if you're matey or I'm matey or we're both matey, but
We're
I
all
just love
mateys.
Craig. We're all mateys. We're all mateys with Craig. And Craig is a great example of community and somebody who cheers for others and an excellent storyteller.
Yeah,
You know,
and
I've
I'm
had him.
hoping to get the opportunity of meeting Craig in a few weeks' time, actually, as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Good to know. You do change LinkedIn lives in many ways, Nigel. That's nice. That's nice. You need that on your website. We'll just screenshot
Just hold
that
that last
comment.
screen capture that, will you? Thank you, Jeff.
Well,
You're
and
a great friend.
oh, he is. He is. And you know, it's interesting. I actually heard this as a sort of a marketing tip. I don't know even where I picked it up, so I'm sorry. I'm not giving credit to the person. But that person said they actually like to screenshot things when they see a comment or somebody said something about them and brought them into a comment. And we do that a lot on LinkedIn. We mention people so that they know that we've talked about them. And they said they like to use those in their marketing, but also too, just to make them feel good. Cause you always have those bad days where you're
Yeah,
just like, you feel, "Ugh, why do I even bother? You know, maybe I should just pack it in and,
go
you
back to
know,
bed.
yeah, like I give up, I give up. But
Yeah,
having that's a way to empower yourself is when people say something nice, screenshot it, stick it in
yeah,
a folder, and you've got
yeah,
it. Little
yeah,
love notes on a
yeah.
Valentine's Day.
What you can do is a little tip, Gillian. You can make a PDF if you screen capture all your recommendations as a screenshot and pop those into a Word document. You create a PDF and remind yourself of all those wonderful things that people have said about you.
I
Not that, of course,
love that.
not that I've done that, of course.
Where's your halo? Bink. It just appears. Bink, bink. But it's so true. And we need those reminders. We need those reminders. And we're just human. We are just human. We are just human. Lovely Tina coming in from Belgium. Happy St. Valentine's, Gillian and Nigel. Thanks for changing lives. Greeting from Belgium. Nice.
Thank you, Tina.
And Jeff says, great approach, Nigel. Give them a fish, feed them for a day, teach them to fish, feed them for the rest of their lives. I actually had that as a little note to myself, as like, that's what I think of when you talk about empowerment, when you are teaching people to do it themselves. I had a client once who said to me, so your goal with video, because we were starting to work together, and he said, the goal with video is that after a couple sessions, I won't need you anymore. And I said, yes. That's when the teacher is done, when the student can go off. And sometimes they go off and they're like, now I need to come work with you because you're doing it so amazing now.
Yeah, that's what gives me the best feeling in the world, when you take somebody from that bottom end and they become a star on LinkedIn and everything that they want is achieved, and you get that phone call saying, Nigel, can't believe what's happened, thank you so much. That is like gold dust just falling from heaven.
Yes, absolutely. So amazingly, we have reached the end of our 30 minutes. So Nigel, do you want to sort of give us a takeaway, some sage advice that we can walk away with today?
Sergio, I tell you what, the best advice I can give is, in terms of your LinkedIn activity and strategy, is be here a little and often. Just be in the conversation. LinkedIn is a conversation. So the best, if you've got 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, doesn't matter if it's in 10 minutes or 5-minute slots, just be here, be there, watch the conversation. You can't manage LinkedIn in like an hour on a Friday afternoon once a week. Be here a little and often, and get into the vibe of what happens here, and you'll do well.
I love that. Thank you very much. Okay, well, thank you for being here today, Nigel. Excited for you. We'll continue to watch your 2.0 journey. And for everybody, please make sure that you're following Nigel so that you stay abreast of what's going on with what he's doing. And happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And thank you for being here. And we'll see you all next week.